Did a young mother of 2 daughters really commit suicide right at a family celebration? The truth will shock you. The psychics will expose the real killer. Welcome to Psychic Investigations. There are only true and impressive stories here. People who call themselves clairvoyants investigate incredible mystical anomalies and intricate criminal cases. In this house in a small Ukrainian village, life seems to have stopped since the mother of the family, 33-year-old Marina Timkovich, was found dead at the doorstep of her own home.
The tragedy occurred on March 8th. Marina Timkovich's body was discovered by her husband, Vasil. The woman wearing a nightgown was lying outside the door of her house. A bloody kitchen knife from her home was found nearby. The cause of death was a stab wound to the heart.
The police concluded that Marina committed suicide. They claim she stabbed herself in the heart.
She loved her children very much, and she would never leave them alone.
We're shocked. They're such a diligent family. They have everything in abundance.
The victim's brother, Volodymyr, remembers the day he lost his only sister well.
I remember her tearful and smiling. She visited us in the morning, and I congratulated her on the International Women's Day.
Marina lived in her own house with her husband, Vasil, and their 2 daughters, 16-year-old Nadia and 9-year-old Angelina. In the evening, the whole family gathered to celebrate. Marina's brother and his wife did not join them and stayed to celebrate at home. All the known details come from Vasil's words.
They laid the table in the kitchen.
She prepared everyone's favorites to please them.
That evening, Vasil's relatives came to the Timkovichs for dinner. The hostess stayed to entertain the guests until 10 in the evening, after which she put her younger daughter to bed and went to rest, too.
They said she changed and went to bed.
An hour later, Vasil went outside to smoke and found his beloved wife dead. The family called the police.
The investigator examined the scene. It's a private house. No one can enter the yard that simple.
What happened to the loving wife and mother? Why would she commit suicide if she had no problems in the family or at work? It is also puzzling why the woman went outside only wearing a nightgown. It was rather cold that evening, only 2 degrees above zero, and people were still wearing warm clothes. Is it possible that Marina was taken outside by force?
She wanted to live. She wanted to be with us.
The suicide version indeed looks rather strange. The local priest also disagrees with it.
A knife wound 12 centimeters deep, it can't be suicide. With the permission of the local bishop, I conducted the funeral service anyway.
What kind of strength does one need to stab themselves in the chest 12 centimeters deep? Could Marina really do this herself? To somehow understand the causes of the tragedy, the family hired a lawyer. However, according to him, the police are behaving very strangely and are obstructing an independent investigation.
As a lawyer, I haven't been granted access to the materials to date. Everyone is turning a blind eye.
The police are doing nothing at all.
We are asking the psychics to help us.
Clairvoyant Yaroslava Fedorova took on the investigation of Marina's death. The psychic is already working with the victim's photo.
For some reason, I see a picture of her kneeling, and there's something like a chain around her neck. And next to her, I see a woman with short hair.
The next morning, Olena Kurilova joins the investigation. The psychics share what they have sensed.
A man jumping out of a window is...
Another suicide?
Hold up. Lovers. It's an affair.
Astonishing news. Did Marina really have a lover who committed suicide?
I had a dream of an icon last night, the Last Supper, and I saw Marina sitting at the table. She was surrounded by guests. Next to Marina sat a traitor, just like Judas was next to Jesus.
Does it mean Marina was betrayed? But who betrayed her and how? The psychics go to meet her family, but Marina's husband is currently on a business trip in the Czech Republic.
Hello?
Hello.
My name's Volodymyr. This is Nadia, the daughter of the deceased, and this is my wife, Mariana.
Mariana, pleased to meet you.
Hold this.
Something pushed me right in the shoulder. She's here. Marina. Marina's spirit appeared as soon as we started working. Marina says, thank you for the children. She now calls you mother, Angelina.
Angelina is like my own daughter to me. Right after Marina's death, she asked if she could call me mom.
The girls no longer have a mother, and their father has to stay away from home for a long time to provide a decent life for his daughters. Currently, Marina's brother, Volodymyr, and his wife, Mariana, care for the sisters.
She says, let her be the mother. She trusts you.
She was a wonderful mother to her children, always doing everything for them.
I see flowers in Marina's hands when she was alive. Red flowers.
She received a gift of a red bouquet.
It turned out that on the day of her death, Marina was given a gorgeous bouquet as a present for March 8th.
What's her husband's
Vasil.
name? She loved him a lot.
Her feelings were very strong.
First love for life, and she got married very young.
She was 16.
It's unbelievable. Why would a beautiful woman, a loving mother and wife, stab herself in the heart then?
I see 2 wounds, 2 knives. One is physical, and the other stabs her in the back, like some kind of betrayal. A traitor sat at the table with Marina that evening. That person is related to her death. We need to understand who it is.
Marina, show us. The cards show a love affair between a man and a woman. It's Nadia's father.
And the woman next to her is family.
Marina says it hurts so much, she cries.
A shocking revelation. So, was Marina's life with her husband not so happy after all? Could it be that the unfaithfulness was the reason for the suicide and no one killed Marina? But who is the woman with whom Vasil had an affair?
You all know her.
People said he had an affair with the school principal.
Everyone in the village knew about this principal. She's Angelina's godmother.
Does it mean that Vasil cheated on his wife with the woman Marina trusted so much that she invited her to be her daughter's godmother?
She nurtured a snake in her bosom.
She says she wants us to meet that woman.
The psychics go to the school where Vasil's mistress, Mariana, is the principal.
Hello.
Hello?
The principal won't come out. She doesn't wish to talk to you.
If you're not guilty of anything, you won't need to hide.
Of course.
Their relationship initially was purely professional.
It turned out that 10 years ago, Vasil worked at the school as a manager of the economy, and Mariana was his boss. Perhaps that's when their romance began?
She goes somewhere with him by car.
Yes, they used their car.
I saw them several times. Vasil was giving her a lift in his car.
Many people said they dated, but Marina refused to believe it.
She always defended her family.
Meanwhile, Olena Kurilova notices the school principal at the back entrance.
There was a scandal connected with you and Marina's husband. Did you and him have an affair?
No.
Then why was Marina so insanely jealous?
Yes, Marina was, but we talked. I told her Vasil wanted it, but I refused him because I respected Marina very much.
She didn't lie to me. She indeed never had a love affair with Vasil. However, the cards clearly showed that Marina's husband had someone on the side.
He had someone. I saw him talking on the phone with someone for a long time and texting a lot. Besides, and Marina herself told me, he had another woman. Her name's Olha.
So Vasil did have a mistress? And Marina found out about it?
Marina even said she wanted to send him to work abroad.
Marina understood everything. She sent her husband to work in another country to keep him away from his mistress.
According to the school principal, Vasil went to work abroad and thus broke up with his mistress. But Marina died 6 months later. If she really decided to commit suicide because of her husband's unfaithfulness, why didn't she do it right away?
Marina says, find the mirrored doors.
It's their gate. She died there.
The psychics and Marina's relatives go to the place where the tragedy occurred. Almost all the villagers have gathered near the Timkovich's house.
This is the house where Marina lived, and this is the mirrored gates.
Let me work here.
May I enter the house?
The past. A celebration. They had guests. A couple.
She looks that way. She's alone in the room, and she sees someone staring at her. She runs, but God! There was a knife here.
I see Marina. Marina runs. I see a man. And he meets her, and he seems hug her. Like this. Bam. An iron embraces.
But who is the man who embraced Marina before her death?
I hear a scream and then... You're not going anywhere. You won't say anything. Shut up. Shut up forever. Yaroslava. He killed her. A man. A man's hand with the knife.
What fell there?
We heard a loud bang in the house. A champagne bottle fell.
Wait.
It's incredible. There was no one in the house. There were no drafts or pets.
It was a sign from Marina.
Something is missing there.
Yes, the money is gone.
About $2,000.
So, a significant amount of money disappeared from the house. But why was the case closed as suicide then? Robbery seems to be a plausible motive for homicide.
That person took the money. Sit down, my dear.
Don't cry.
Our detective Katerina Malachenko, along with the lawyer hired by the victim's family, managed to obtain the case materials. The information is shocking.
There are facts that contradict the suicide theory. There were no fingerprints on the knife that killed Marina. She couldn't have stabbed herself and then wipe off the prints.
The project's detective urgently joins the psychic's investigation.
Katerina Malachenko.
Volodymyr.
A traitor sat at the table with Marina that evening.
Do you feel someone leave through the door that night?
Through the front door? No one else left. She went out alone.
Who could murder her then?
If everyone was in the house and no one followed Marina out, then the killer wasn't one of the guests. So, who did it?
I'm going to work with water in front of the mirror. I need to see everything it witnessed.
And I'm going to look through the fire. She draws me here. She stands here by the window, watching. And you know what she sees? Her closest, dearest person flirting with another woman on the balcony. Marina knew her husband was constantly cheating on her. And of course, seeing him talking sweetly to another woman was the last straw.
A knife in the back, a stab from behind.
It seems the family realized who the man could have been sweetly talking to in front of his wife. It was Svetlana, the wife of Vasil's brother. She and her husband came to visit the Timkoviches that evening.
His brother's wife. He said he'd gone out on the balcony to smoke, but before that, he'd smoked in the house. I'm sure of that. He never went outside.
And Svetlana didn't smoke at all. I don't know what they were doing on that balcony.
Our expert decided to meet with Svetlana.
This wasn't suicide.
It's impossible. I'm a witness. I saw it all.
Did you see the moment she drove the knife into her heart?
It was by the gate. She had already changed in her robe.
If this woman is telling the truth, did Marina really kill herself? But then, why were there no fingerprints on the knife? And why was the murder weapon found next to the victim's left hand when she was right-handed? Is it possible that Svetlana's lying and it didn't happen that way?
And then I understood why I'd seen Marina on her knees with a chain wrapped around her neck in the morning. It was a clue. It meant that the woman was completely under her husband's control. Only on the last day of her life did she realize she wouldn't endure this humiliation any longer.
She's showing me. Here, the chain. Did the gold chain break like this?
Once he pushed her, Vasil pushed Marina, and her chain broke.
I told her several times, "My God, Marina, you have huge bruises. Where are they from?" She said she'd fallen, but she was beaten up badly.
Did Vasil, whom Marina loved with all her heart, beat her?
She's shouting, "No, that's it, I'm leaving." And he grabs the knife. I'm almost certain that Marina's husband killed her.
So, was it her husband? You yourself said that no one left the house.
He didn't leave the house.
He jumped out the window. A man jumping out of a window.
Svetlana told me she locked them out on that balcony.
I asked him why she locked the balcony door. He said he didn't know. I think it's because she might have seen something she didn't want to see between Vasil and Svetlana.
It's not high at all. You can simply swing your leg over this parapet and jump onto the boiler room roof.
Sure, you can do that. Do you mean Svetlana also jumped from the balcony?
No, Svetlana stayed on the balcony.
But if Svetlana stayed on the balcony, how could she have seen Marina stab herself? After all, the yard isn't visible from the balcony, as it's on the opposite side of the house.
He thought she would get scared if she saw him with the knife because she was always afraid.
At the table, Vasil, smiled like a demon and said, "I will kill you."
We heard him say that when he was drunk. He said, "Would the family forgive me if I killed you?"
He said he was tired of living the way he was living.
Nadia, did you ever see your dad drunk? What was he like? Aggressive.
Yes, he didn't even talk to Mom normally, but he always yelled at her drunk.
She always told me she wanted to keep her family together so the kids would have a father.
She was trying to preserve her family at the cost of her own life. That explains everything. His quick departure and some, by the way, the money that disappeared from the dresser. Where did it go?
We don't know.
Where? To bribe the cops.
I have almost no doubt that Marina's husband murdered her. He not only killed her, but also made it look like a suicide.
We'd like to thank you for helping us figure this out.
We need to talk to Svetlana because Svetlana is the primary witness.
Svetlana realized we won't drop this case. It will be publicized nationwide, and she might end up in prison. So, on the second attempt, she began to recall slightly different circumstances of Marina Timkovich's death.
Svetlana, did you see the exact moment when she killed herself?
I only saw it when he shouted, "Svetlana, look, there's blood."
Did you witness the moment she did it?
No, I didn't.
After the investigation by the psychics, I and Marina Timkovich's relatives requested 2 independent examinations. Marina couldn't have stabbed herself in the heart. The injuries found on her body are not characteristic of self-infliction. The criminal case has been reopened. We hope the person responsible for Marina's death will be sentenced.
It's hard to believe the husband killed his wife, who loved him so much, with his own hands and made it look like a suicide. If this story impressed you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Many more astonishing investigations are coming up.